Okay, so this is our main, it's titled our main shaft and gears. And there's two measurements I want to go over right now. That's the clearance underneath the snap ring right here. I have a 1.5 thousandths feeler gauge, and you put it right underneath the snap ring, and this goes in perfectly fine. It's kind of tight as you go around. So I'm okay with this. That's this measurement, because the measurement is 0 to 2.4 thousandths, and we're at 1.5 thousandths. So we're good on that. So there's another measurement that we're going to pay attention to, and that is from the bottom of the small gear to the top of this extension. So we can't extend this all the way to the measurement, but we could use an estimate. So from the edge right here, that's our measuring edge, to the top of this gear, that it should be 1 inch. So this is what we're measuring right here. Okay, so you look at the picture, we're pretty close to it. Okay, so we're measuring to the top of the extension housing right here. At the college, we might have a tool that will actually work, so we're just estimating this. And the last measurement is going to be this feeler gauge measurement, which is so we're going to do the in-play measurement right here between these two gears and these two gears. It should be anywhere from 10 thousandths to 60 thousandths. So I have a 28 and a 30 put together, so that's 58. And I'm going to measure the clearance in here. And that is a nice drag on my tool. And by the way, there is movement, so you can actually move this gear in and out a little bit. So there's supposed to be some play. And here's the other one right here. Okay, so 58 thousandths for both of these. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. Okay. So we're going to move the snap ring, and then there's a C-ring holder, and then there's two C-clips. So we're going to do that. Understand on snap rings, they could be for where you got to expand it, or you could switch it where you contract it. So inside or outside snap rings, depending on your usage. So a lot of people are not aware that some snap rings like this, you want to expand. Some snap rings you want to contract. So, and I don't want to over expand it because it will stretch it. Okay, there's that, and we're going to start a little line like we did before. And so here's and it's beveled on the inside. Okay, and then here's our C-clips right here. Okay, so we've done that. Now the next thing is remove the main shaft rear bearing adjustment shim and 6 main gear using tool, which is just a bearing puller. So we're going to go right underneath here and pull all this together. Yeah. So the book manual says to use a bearing puller and a press, but I'm going to show you that you could also just use a regular puller like this. Get a socket in here or something that, like a bushing installer. Put that in there and just run this down, and I'll pull it all off. But since we have a hydraulic press, we're going to use this. Okay. So let's get it expanded a little bit. So we're going to get that underneath there and then go right over to our assembly. Yeah. Slide this in and make sure you're straight. And then we're going to tighten these down, but first off, let's get this lined up. And then we're going to use a socket to press on this right here, and then we'll need an extension. So we'll set it up now. Okay, we got it hit. I'm going to put my little bucket underneath here, catch the pieces that fall. All right. There you go. Sometimes that socket is what works the best. There we go. Bring this over. And now we want to get it where we got our pieces marked properly. So remember, slide, slide. This one's not marked. And this is always forgotten. So the bearing goes over the top of this, and there's a shim here. Okay, that's a thrust washer that's adjustable. So you got to make sure you don't, it's all those little details. Okay, like this, and maybe I need to do it on both sides so that way I know the double mark means that that goes with that gear. Okay, now we can take this off, mark that. Got this gear already marked, this gear. So we're on our way. Let's go ahead and see where we're on instructions. Remove the 4th gear and 5th gear simultaneously using tool as shown. See, there's going to be another adjustment shim after that. Okay, so we're going to go right underneath this, just like we did. Let's set it up. Line that up. Go fast mode. Now we're going to go slow. There we go. Perfect. Put it up. And you can see how these are splined onto the, so these are acting like a counter shaft. Okay, so gear, and make sure there's no shim. Okay, no shim underneath that. Here's the shim right here, and these are selective thrust washer shims, right? Okay, so put that there, put that there. Now we have another pressing to do. So we removed the 4th and 5th gear main gear simultaneously. Remove that shim, remove the 3rd, 4th main shaft spacer. Now we're going to pretty much move everything. The 3rd main gear, 2nd main gear, 2nd gear needle bearing, 2nd bushing, 1st and 2nd synchronizer, 1st main gear, reverse main gear, 1st gear needle bearing, and 1st bushing simultaneously using tools. So we're going to grab it from underneath here. Okay, so we're going to put this now right on top. Matter of fact, we could do it this way. Without that, we could go straight with this. Just like that. Now they do make cut ones, so they do make adapters that are triangular or circle. Okay, so we could use these if we wanted. So, but this should be plenty of support for what I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, line that up right there, and then this should be enough. So we have this nice little donut here. Gives us a nice, good surface to press with. So when you are working with a hydraulic press, you don't throw away all this metal. You keep it because, man, you need it for different purposes. Okay. Also, save old bearings. So any old bearings are great for pressing other things apart. So save the races from old bearings. So here we go. There we go, and that's a good reason why you use a rag with a bucket. So here's our main shaft. Okay, perfect. Let's take all these pieces over here. And let's line them up. Alright, so yellow dot, no shim, no shim. There's a bearing here. Okay, so take that out. Here's a needle bearing with a collar and a race all in one. I'm just going to leave that. Oh, here, I'll put it. Why not? Okay, so now here's our synchronizer assembly. And this one's a very unique synchronizer. It's really cool. It's actually a three-piece design. So this is a bulk ring too, or a synchronizer ring. But you got the teeth right here that lock onto this conical cone. And then you have an inside in the grooves on the outside here. But this is the inside bulk ring that go inside here. And what that does, it increases the surface area of friction and multiplies it almost by twice. So there's a special measurement for that, and we'll go over that. Here's our synchronizer hub with our keys and our spring. So you'll notice the spring inside ends at one of these lock keys, and then on this side it ends at this one of these lock keys. Make sure this slides. Flip it over. Well, actually, before I flip it over, we want to mark it because this is the top. And I'll mark even the spring. Okay. Because there is a top side and a bottom side to this. See the notches? 4 notches on the top side, 3 notches on the bottom side. And if you flip this, you just messed up. Okay. You have another three-piece synchronizer ring and another bearing right here. So here's this three-piece synchronizer ring. That's the outer. And you have your cone right there. Then you have your inner bulk ring that goes in right there. Okay. And then you have another needle bearing. So you have another bearing and race here. And then you have first gear. And no shims, so always be aware if there's going to be a shim. And then this is the bottom gear. A lot of pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 springs, 10, 12, and 6 locking keys. That's 16. Another 3, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, because there's a shim. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 pieces in that one cluster. So you have to stay organized. If you come up with a different plan, so be it. But it better be a plan that works. So we have another measurement with a 3-piece bulk ring. Okay, here's our bulk ring, and it wants you to measure between the bottom and the top one, right in this gap right here. And I got a 30, and I don't think I have this all the way down. Let's see. Yeah, it's probably because I took this one apart. There we go. Now it's together. Okay. So I get that little measurement. So you stick it right inside that gap right there. But the hard part is you can't have it on a flat surface because they come apart. Okay, and that's why they're showing you a special setup with a dial indicator and supporting this, because they do just come apart naturally. So same measurement with here. This one I did not take apart. And let's see. It's a little bit loose on the 30,000, but not too bad. Okay, so again, by flipping it around, you lose track, but you don't have to panic if you have that yellow mark. Okay, so in this one, I did not put a mark on, did I? Because that one faces up. Shame on me. Should have put a mark on that. All right, so that's all the measurements. Now we can go back together. Okay, so all this time I've been talking about direction. Here they're trying to tell you direction, and we just already went over 3 teeth versus the 4 notches. So this is referring to one of the hubs, and you got to make sure you got the right side facing forward. So first gear that we're going to put on is the reverse main gear using tool as shown. So we're going to put this on with the dot facing up, get it splined on, and then we got to use a long tube. Press that down. Okay. All right. I have to move my table down, so we'll stop the video.
Oh, here we go. Rolling.
Okay. So we're going to go fast down. Make sure it's all aligned. And press away. There's our first gear. Okay. Let's go back to the table. Let's see what we got next. So now it's telling us, you know, rear side. Notice rear side, directional. See, even the book is worried about you getting it wrong. Install the first bushing using tool as shown. Okay, so we have the next gear right here. Oh, this is the bushing. Got it. That's the bushing that the bearing rides on. And you can see how it was a press fit by the rings inside. Okay, we don't have to really worry about the oil hole lining up because it's a groove all the way around. So I would say we'll get it pretty close to that. We'll drop it down right on top.
Mark. Get it exact.
Huh?
Line up the yellow marks.
Oh,
I can get it really close.
Yeah, but I didn't mark it for that purpose. Okay. So yeah. So, oh, I see what you're saying. Do this. Good idea, Jordy. I like that. All right, so now I got to find a adapter that will fit that. Yeah, I like this one. So it sits right on the race, but it does not hit the input shaft, so we're good. Yeah. Go over. Get it going straight. Use my little donut. Fast. Oh, down. Wasn't quite happy. It was kind of cocked on here, and if you get it cocked, you might not be able to get it off. So I made sure I was going on straight before I start pressing this thing. Okay. If you start pressing crooked, then a little collar like that could be a nightmare to try to get off. And I'm gonna go slow now. Don't really have to force it, but you just got to go until you feel the resistance. And now that's down all the way. Now the bearing and the gear will go over like that. And then it's going to be this synchronizer assembly. So we got to get this synchronizer assembly perfectly lined up. Okay. And you have those little notches. The notches got to go in the notch of the gear there. Okay. Yep, fill down. See, there we go. Okay. So it has to go in those notches perfectly, and then the outer one has to go in the notch here. So there's two notches you have to align. Okay. Now we're ready to go with the synchronizer hub, sleeve, and we did not take apart the lock keys. on either side. And this is where the direction was important according to the book, which is right here. Okay. So rear side's facing this way. So we're going to go ahead and go over it. The one thing you got to keep in mind is the lock key has to go on to these notches here. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, marking, just like we did with that hole. So marking, I'm going to go straight up like this, and hopefully I can get that blocking ring to line up when I go press this on. Okay, so again, here's the top side, here's the bottom side. Line that up right there. Okay. And oop, this back in. There we go. Get that on. There's on a spline, and then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this blocking ring is lined up right there. And let's go to the press. And you also need to make sure that snap ring didn't fall down on the bottom side. So it has to be still attached on the bottom. So let's see if I can use. I'm happy with that. Okay. And we need the donut. And up. And you see how we move that whole gear and it should toss down. Now all I'm doing is holding the synchronizer sleeve up, so I don't have to worry about it. And let's see. Looks like we're good. Let's go a little more. Let's go up. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so then we still have these keys all hooked up. So now let's go to the next one. This is the other blocking ring set up. That should just go right in there like this. Okay. We have another collar here. We can put that down, lining the hole up, lubrication holes up right there. And we already have a pipe we could use. We'll go on this way. And last time I gave it a little tap so it doesn't get out of place when I move it over to the table. Put my dowel back on. A lot of pressing. This is the most this high school press has ever seen. So the first gear synchronizer assembly on the main shaft, the synchronizer hub, and the main shaft using the tool. We installed the balk ring, synchronizer code, and an inner balk ring on the second gear. Now what you just saw was we pressed on the coupling sleeve with the proper rotation. Proper rotation meaning the holes are aligned. Okay. So now let's go ahead and go to the next one. Okay. Install the second bushing using the tool. Install the outer balk ring, synchronizer code, and inner balk ring. Install the needle bearing. So let's go ahead and install the needle bearing. Now we can install the second gear. Okay, and now we're going to install the main gear, third gear. Okay, so this is splined on. So that's our next step. Okay, so I just lined up my splines to the third gear right here. I'm going to take my tube again, slide that down. Hopefully my donut will still work. Yep. And we're going to press this on. Yellow dot facing up. Alright. So install the third, fourth gear main shaft spacer. That's this right here. So we're going to install that. Okay. Then we're going to install the shim. Oh, actually, it's showing you the adjustment shim. Okay. So this is where I showed you at the beginning of the video. You take that measurement from the bottom of the gear here to the top of here with a proper vernier caliper. Mine was too short, and it should be 6.88 or 844 to 6.848 inches. Okay, and the reason why you do that measurement is you might have to change to a different thickness shim. We're going to measure the shim and see how it compares to this chart right now. So I'm going to zero out my vernier caliper. I'm going to expand it, and then I'm going to contract it, and it looks like it's 30 thousandths. Let's see, 33 thousandths, and then it goes up from there. So this is the smallest shim. Okay, so 33 thousandths shims right. Okay, I keep reinforcing direction. We know direction because of the dot. It says right here, install the fourth gear with a specified orientation as shown using the tool. So this is the image they give you for fourth gear. What they really don't show you too well is this ridge right here is right on top of the gear versus the other side is flat. Okay, so the picture's a really poor image of trying to show you that this side faces rearward. Okay, so that's just reinforces what I've been saying. Don't trust anybody but your own markings. Okay, gonna go fast, go down. This is pretty far. Almost there. It's touching. A little bit of pressure, not a lot. Go up. All right, let's see how we're doing now. Okay, so we just installed this. Pay attention to orientation. Okay, install the fifth main gear with the specified orientation as shown. So again, they're trying to show you the collar sticking above it versus this collar, and it has this little edge. I don't know how to interpret that, but I do know about that. All right, let's go back down. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Alright, install the sixth main shaft spacer. And it's trying to tell us to align it properly, but this just fits over there. Okay? And then this has that selective washer here. Now I'm going to press it without that right now and just go with the gear. And I might be able to use a bigger spacer this time. Yeah, that help me out where I don't have to go as far. And I'm going to try to do this one fast as well. and bottomed out. Now I'm going to go slow to get that maximum press that I want. Yep. So if you're doing fast, you're not going to get it down all the way. There'll be a couple thousandths you're not getting. And if you didn't get it all the way pressed, these two gears, then you would not be able to get the snap ring on at the very top. Okay? So that's why I'm going slow, is I got to get this all squeezed together so that clips on. Got our bearing. Okay.
Hold on.
Sometimes it's good to have two people. I was going to put the bearing on before I put that shim on. Look at that. Okay. Golden. Okay. That would have been a real problem if I didn't have that shim on there. Now I could put the bearing on and press this together. Okay. I'm going to try and go with the same setup I was using. That was our last press. Okay, now we're going to put these C-clips in. So we were starting to assemble the C-clips and they weren't fitting on the top. And during the process of going back and forth, I didn't make sure that this gear fell down on top of the synchronizer lock right there. And now you could see how much more pressing we did. So what we did was we took the bearing press and we put it underneath here and we drove the shaft, pulling all this together up so then we could turn this gear and properly insert it. Okay? So now it looks like we should be able to press this all together. Right? So now, this back. Apart, but I don't want you to make the same mistake I made of not getting these locked together. So now, and we're squeezing this gear right here down further. Go up. Now I should have a lot more clearance on top. So we got the two C-clips in, put the collar on, and then the last step is the snap ring itself. And it clicked, and then my rule is it should always spin. Okay? And that is our cluster. Okay? Perfect.